Welcome fellow TV and film fanatics to the binge list. I'm Greg, and Netflix is bringing a ton of new shows and movies in March of 2024, and it's honestly hard to prioritize what's worth your time. So I tried to narrow down this massive list to some that seem to stand out. This month actually has some really solid options coming to the streaming service, from nostalgic movies and shows to new original titles that look really awesome, and two that I am beyond excited to check out. Here's how this works. We're actually going to talk a little bit more in depth about those ones that stood out, and then later on in the video I'm going to show you a complete list of everything coming in March 2024. Stop mindlessly scrolling, stop wasting your time, and let's jump in and check out the list.
I did not intend to frighten you, skinny human. Do not be afraid. I'm losing my mind.
I'm going to start off the list with a bunch of titles that are actually all hitting on March 1st, and the first on that list is Netflix's original Spaceman, with what looks like another more serious role from Adam Sandler, who's playing Jacob in this film. He's an astronaut sent on a solo mission to the edge of the solar system, and 6 months into the journey, he's isolated and grappling with his personal demons. He discovers this mysterious creature aboard the ship. This unexpected companion is voiced by Paul Dano, this super odd spider-like creature that now helps Jacob confront his emotional baggage and find solace in the vast emptiness of space. This movie did not come out yet, so it's hard to give a full review of it, but what I read and what I saw in the trailer, it does look like it's a really unique film depicting the beauty of space travel and fully immersing you into this isolated environment with the main character. And I do love Sandler in Waterboy and Little Nicky, Happy Gilmore, and it's those iconic roles, but it is really cool to see Sandler depart from his usual comedic roles once in a while, showing that he's more than just a funny man, like he did in Uncut Gems and Hustle. Both are great movies, and it appears this film is going to be more in line with that. And the trailer really highlights his portrayal of Jacob's vulnerabilities and emotional struggles in the film. And on top of Sandler, it looks like there's a bunch of other familiar faces supporting him in this, with Dano of course, but also Carey Mulligan, Lena Olin, and Kunal Nair. Spaceman is based on a novel, Space of Bohemia, and it's being directed by Johan Renck, who is more known for directing TV series. He directed the entire miniseries Chernobyl, and also did a few episodes of The Walking Dead, Bloodlines, and Breaking Bad. So I'm definitely checking this one out to see Sandler in this more serious role, and Renck hopefully brings that same wow factor to a feature-length film.
I want you to try out for the debate team.
You sure you want somebody like me?
No. That's why you're trying out.
Also on the first, we get an older movie on this list, but it's still a great movie, and that is The Great Debaters. This is a historical drama based on a true story of Wiley College debate team in the 1930s, led by their passionate coach Melvin Tolson, played by Denzel Washington in the film. A group of talented students challenge racial prejudice and social injustices by competing in a national debate competition. This film boasts some really impressive performances by Denzel Washington and Forrest Whitaker, and it has a young cast that you'd probably recognize now, as some of them have reached some really high levels of stardom since back in 2007. This film does have a really cool message. It is kind of like Remember the Titans-esque if the Titans were a debate team, showing this young team's perseverance, overcoming adversity, and obviously fighting for social justice during this time period. And I didn't know this till I was actually doing a bit of research on this, but not only did Denzel Washington star in this film, but this was actually his directorial debut. It's definitely a title worth checking out on the first.
The Freak! This man is a legend with the ladies.
I can only imagine.
Oh, baby, you ain't got to imagine. We got this on video. You don't want to see that. See, the Freak is back in town.
I don't know that dude.
From a fairly serious title to something that's a bit more hysterical, let's talk about Think Like a Man 2. This is a sequel to the 2012 romantic comedy Think Like a Man, bringing back all the original couples in this wild and hilarious Vegas wedding weekend, but their plans for a romantic getaway go haywire as the guys and girls embark on their own adventures filled with bachelor and bachelorette parties, old flames, and hilarious clashes. One, if not the best part of this film, is the cast. There are so many stars in this. You've got Kevin Hart, you've got Gabrielle Union, Wendy McLean-Covey, Adam Brody, Michael Ealy, Jerry Ferrera, Regina Hall, Terrence Jenkins, Megan Good, Taraji P. Henson. Literally so many stars packed into this film. And the chemistry and the comedic timing between the actors is on point, exactly how you remember it from the original. Especially Hart and his energetic performance that kind of brings life to everybody. This is very much your typical rom-com movie that delves into real-life relationship issues with humor, and it's just lighthearted, but the journey is hilarious and how they get there is a ton of fun. Think Like a Man 2 did not achieve the same box office success as the first film did, but it's definitely worth checking out if you enjoy the first movie at all, love these actors, or just enjoy a funny feel-good time.
What I want to do? I want to take off that robe and
Why are you not at work, George?
Oh, I forgot fired.
On the first, we do get another comedic road trip movie starring Jennifer Aniston and Paul Rudd as this married couple, Georgia and Linda, in Wanderlust. These two leave these stressful Manhattan lives to pursue a simpler, off-the-grid existence. However, they find themselves clashing with the unconventional lifestyles and free-spirited inhabitants of a utopian commune, forcing them to reevaluate their priorities and redefine their notions of happiness. The ageless wonders of Aniston and Rudd play off each other so well in this film, and the two are truly charismatic performers. This film has tons of humor in it, but probably even more so it feels very relatable. The comedy really lays into satire around materialism, career pressures, and alternate or maybe untraditional lifestyles. Like 99% of rom-coms I've researched, I see people say the storyline is over-predictable and it's lacking surprising twists. And I say to that, we know how it's going to end. But people watch rom-coms to watch the love unfold along the journey. So if you're like me and you appreciate the journeys, high five to you. The film was directed by David Wayne, known for his enjoyable comedic titles like Wet Hot American Summer and Role Models. So if you enjoy those, this is perfect for you, as it shares that same director and is co-wrote by the legendary Judd Apatow.
That's a profound thought.
I'm probably going to check out Spaceman before I check out any of the other titles on the first, but this next one is actually something I haven't seen in a while, and it's one of the ones that I'm really excited to rewatch, and that's Voyagers. This is a sci-fi thriller set in the near future where Earth is dying due to climate change. A desperate plan is launched to send a multi-generational spacecraft carrying young children on this 86-year mission to a distant, habitable planet. To ensure the survival and avoid rebellion, the children are kept docile with a drug suppressing their emotions, their urges, and their memories. However, as they reach their teenage years, a group of them discover the truth and decide to take control. This movie essentially turns into The Lord of the Flies meets 2001: A Space Odyssey, where alliances are formed, fear festers, and chaos ensues in so many different ways. Some of the characters in this film are just kind of there, even one-dimensional at times, but the leads, including Ty Sheridan and Lily Rose Depp, do a great job depicting this emotional roller coaster that they get to go through, and it takes place on this visually stunning set that boasts impressive visuals and special effects, creating this captivating sci-fi atmosphere on this ship. I'm not saying that this is a masterpiece, but this one is definitely worth the hour and 45-minute commitment.
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles. No. Stop it.
The last title that I'm going to cover that's coming out on the 1st is a movie that I just covered in my Amazon Movie Nights video, and that is the movie Yesterday. Jack, this struggling musician, wakes up one day and is the only person on Earth who remembers the Beatles. No one remembers their music, so he ends up using this unique knowledge to become a legend himself, performing Beatles songs as his own. And I don't want to say all the exact same things I just said about Yesterday, but this is truly a heartwarming film, and it has some really cool themes that they explore throughout it. There's tons of great music in this one. They jam in over 20 of the Beatles' most memorable songs into this film, either in the original renditions or new arrangements and performances done by Himesh Patel, the lead actor. Patel and Lily James are charming as the relatable Jack and Ellie, the main characters in this film, with great chemistry on screen, and then the writers and directors were able to balance the movie's lightheartedness with the drama that ensues. This is a feel-good film with a great soundtrack. Take it for what it is, and you're sure to enjoy Yesterday.
All we want to do is help our patients. But what they don't teach us in medical school is there are so many ways to do harm.
Let's move on to the 4th, and this is actually the first TV series on this list, and I have to say my wife really enjoys medical or doctor shows like Grey's Anatomy, and on the 4th we're getting a show that she roped me into watching, and to be honest, it's really good, and that is The Resident. This is a medical drama series that aired on Fox. The series went on for 6 seasons, so you can follow a ton of different characters' lives and relationships at Chastain Park Memorial Hospital. Obviously, they explore a lot of medical stuff in the show, but what kept me coming back and watching was the intertwined other thing, like focusing on the ethical and personal challenges that characters face in their daily work lives. There are a ton of likable characters in this show, and like I mentioned, you follow a majority of them for long periods of time, so they all feel well developed. And again, they go through tons of personal struggles that add to the depth and relatability of the show. And these characters are brought to life with a lot of great actors, with Bruce Greenwood, Manish Dayal, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and Emily Van Camp. But I do want to highlight Matt Zuckery as the de facto main character Conrad, who is great and easy to root for. He's super charismatic, witty, smart, and would give the shirt off his back to save his patients. Yes, a show like this can be a bit melodramatic at times, with over-the-top storylines and constant flip-flopping character relationships, but it has been nominated for several awards and has a great cast, so if you're into medical dramas, this is a great one.
I didn't ask for any of this. The title has no practical value. The business is broken. There are holes in the roof. The staff are revolting.
There's plenty on this list already to keep me busy. Definitely excited to see Spaceman and rewatch some of these other great titles. But on the 7th, we were getting either my number 1 or number 2 most anticipated title with Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman. This series is set to follow the events of Guy Ritchie's film The Gentleman. This is another one that did not air yet, but from what I've read, Eddie, played by Theo James, inherits his father's seemingly legitimate estate. However, beneath the surface lies this hardened drug empire. Now, Eddie must navigate the world of organized crime, facing off against established players and protecting his family legacies. This series is created by Guy Ritchie himself, so one can assume that if you enjoyed the film, this will carry on with that same original film style and tone, and we could probably expect fast-paced action and extremely witty and hilarious dialogue. This is another Netflix original with a high caliber cast with Theo James, Kaya Scodelario, Joey Richardson, Vinnie Jones, and Giancarlo Esposito. And I watched this trailer a few times and it looks like we're going to be getting high production value with some solid performances. It had impressive choreography and some cool action sequences already. I'm super pumped for this one and I enjoyed this movie a ton. So if you enjoy the movie, Guy Ritchie's work, or you're just a fan of action-packed crime shows with tons of comedy, this will probably fit the bill for you. On the 7th, it looks like we're getting a show with another really unique premise, and that's The Signal. This is a German show, and the trailer has subtitles at this point, but I would assume Netflix has a decent dubbed version available if you don't speak German. But in this, astronaut Paula disappears during a mission, leaving her husband and daughter devastated and searching for answers. As her husband delves deeper into the mystery, he uncovers a cryptic signal originating from space that seems connected to Paula's disappearance. His quest for the truth forces him to confront personal demons, face dangerous organizations, and unravel a conspiracy that threatens not only his family, but possibly the entire world. If you're going to check this show out, it looks like it's going to be for the really dark and intriguing premise I talked about, incorporating both sci-fi themes and also mysterious elements. It looks like it's going to have a very suspenseful atmosphere and tons of these unanswered questions that keep us coming back for more. The performances are a little hard to judge in this one because I'm reading the subtitles during the trailer, but you can see how this digging into the personal struggles of the characters, particularly the husband's grief and determination, can lead to very emotional performances. This series is only a 4-part miniseries, so it will be a quick binge for those of you that love sci-fi mysteries.
Your hand, child.
Close your eyes. I've got you.
Then on the 8th, we're getting Damsel, and do I honestly need to say much more than Millie Bobby Brown and a new Netflix original movie? Everything she seems to do with Netflix seems to be great, and this one is a dark fantasy film set in the mythical world where a young woman is promised to be a sacrifice to appease a fire-breathing dragon. However, instead of being saved by the prince, she is thrown into a pit with a dragon and must rely on her own wit, courage, and unconventional methods to survive. As she navigates the treacherous cave, she starts to unravel secrets about the dragon and the kingdom's true intentions. This movie appears to have a really cool take on the damsel in distress cliche that we see in tons of different movies. What piqued my interest initially was the cast, with Millie Bobby Brown leading the way and Angela Bassett, Robin White, and Ray Winstone supporting. But after watching the trailer, what really kept me going was the stunning visuals from the sets, the costumes, and the epic effects, along with what looks to be this awesome creature design. If you like Millie Bobby Brown, dragons, or just a unique take on a familiar movie trope, this looks like a great option on the 8th.
Podríamos encontrar cualquier cosa.
The next series we get is actually coming out on the 13th, and this is Bandidos. This is a Netflix adventure series that follows Miguel, a quirky hustler who recruits a group of skilled misfits to help him retrieve a legendary treasure in the depths of the Caribbean. Teaming up with a mysterious accomplice, they are set to embark on thrilling underwater adventures, facing danger, betrayal, and hidden secrets along the way. And the series is classified as an action-adventure series, but it looks to have a fair bit of humor as well. This is a Mexican show, so it's another one that's not in my native language, but again, I have faith that Netflix will have a quality dubbed version available. But from the looks of it, it has a fun premise, and the cast that I absolutely do not recognize at all seems to be very charismatic and has solid chemistry in the trailer. And I tend to enjoy action shows that do a good job of infusing humor. I do want to share this because if it's true, this is going to be a great show, but I saw people referring to it as a modern Indiana Jones or National Treasure with a Mexican twist, so I definitely think it's worth at least giving a chance.
Good friends! We'll stick together till silence!
Who wants to play bodies, bodies, bodies?
Next, let's jump all the way to the 20th of March, and on the 20th, we're going to catch Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. This movie is a dark comedy slasher film that follows a group of wealthy friends who reunite for a hurricane party at a remote mansion. As tensions rise and secrets resurface, they decide to play a game called Bodies, 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 where a designated murderer eliminates each player in the dark. However, when a real murder occurs, the lines between reality and the game blur, leading to paranoia, suspicion, and this desperate struggle for survival. Honestly, A24 has put together a ton of great content in recent years, like the iconic Everything Everywhere All at Once or the slasher film X. And here's another film with a lot of originality and that includes a blend of dark humor, social commentary, and these slasher elements. It does use satire to poke fun at things like social media obsession and youthful self-absorption in a relatable and yet funny way. I felt like the cast put together some solid performances in this one, with Pete Davidson bringing the star power to this film, but also including Amanda Stenberg, Lee Pace, Rachel Sennett, and Maria Baklava. These are deeply flawed characters that they portray in this film, and in most horror movies, the characters make bad decisions, yes. But this one, you will find yourself yelling at the screen because these actors can be just absolutely so frustrating. Overall, this is another fun movie from A24 worth checking out.
What happened to them?
The last title that I want to highlight goes right up there with Gentleman because I'm super pumped to check this out, and that is The Three Body Problem. The showrunners for this series are David Benioff and D.B. Wise, and most of you probably recognize those names because these two helped bring Game of Thrones to life. So my hope is that this show brings that same level of quality. This one is a sci-fi thriller series based on an award-winning novel. This series begins in the 1960s in China, where a young astrophysicist makes a life-altering decision. Her signal reaches a distant alien civilization who faces its own existential crisis due to the chaotic three-bodied planet. The aliens respond, triggering a countdown for humanity as they prepare for a potential invasion. A group of scientists and soldiers race against time to decipher the messages, understand the motives, and prepare humanity to face its first contact with alien intelligence. I did not read the novels, but from the trailers and what I read about this series, it looks like the narrative potentially unfolds into the past and the present, or maybe on other planets or some type of virtual world. It is a little confusing in the trailer, so I'm excited to see what that actually is. And at this point, I don't really want to know until I actually see it, but it does do a great job of grabbing your attention and curiosity. With incredible production value, awesome effects, and some really good actors in the show with John Bradley, Liam Cunningham, Isaac Gonzalez, Samir Ismani, and Benedict Wong. Those of you that love the books, I'm sure you're going to check this out. But for me, if these showrunners can do half of what they did with their last book adaptation, this is going to be a phenomenal show, so I'm definitely going to be checking this out with high expectations. And lastly, I wanted to provide you with a list of all the other titles hitting Netflix in March. There's a ton happening on the first here, as you can see, as well as some others throughout the month. And there are some ones that stand out, some solid docuseries, reality shows, and comedy specials. But that is going to do it for today. You can check out some of our other Netflix recommendations here if you're looking for something to watch immediately. But take a second to like or subscribe to the channel. It helps us get our recommendations out to others looking for great TV shows and movies they can access from the comfort of their own home. Thanks again for hanging out. Have a great day.